Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Huge reaction to my memo last night about why the black crime problem is not being addressed in America. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. First of all, if you want to see what I said last night, please go to BillO'Reilly.com or FoxNews.com. Also, my remarks are all over cyberspace today. The gist of my memo is that the civil rights industry and our leadership in Washington will not take on the black crime problem because in order to do so, black culture would have to change. Any thinking person knows the Zimmerman-Martin case was an unintended consequence of fear. Zimmerman thought Martin suspicious because of the way he looked. So far, there's been no credible challenge to what I said last night because facts are facts. Young black men commit murder at 10 times the rate of whites and Hispanics combined. The country's failure to deal with poverty and crime in the black precincts is a disgrace. That is true racism. And there are other problems that could be solved as well, but our leadership lacks the will. Two big examples: gun crimes. The solution is not the seizure of weapons, a clear violation of the Second Amendment, but a streamlined approach to punishing thugs who carry illegal guns. Each state should be free to make its own gun laws, but the Fed should criminalize all gun crimes and impose strict mandatory sentences upon conviction. For example, if a stop and frisk operation here in New York City takes an illegal gun away from somebody, that somebody gets a mandatory 5 years in a federal pen. If that somebody commits a robbery with a gun, he or she gets 10 years. Assault with a gun, 15 years. That zero-tolerance policy would drastically reduce gun crime throughout the USA. How about illegal immigration? The solution here is to make illegal entry into the United States a crime, not a civil beef like it is now. Overstay your visa or sneak into the country, $10,000 fine. Can't pay it? 6 months in a detention center. If you're deported and come back here, 10 years in a federal pen. You want to stop illegal entry? That'll stop it. Also, if business owners hire illegal aliens, $10,000 fine for each person. There you go. I just solved the gun and immigration problems. But there's little will in Washington or in the media to embrace tough solutions. It's much easier for politicians and pundits to mouth all kinds of platitudes and theory, have a conversation. Meantime, people are dying. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, a response to my talking points last night. The National Urban League holding a big conference this week, and joining us now from Philadelphia, the head of that organization, Mark Morial. First of all, I believe the root of the black crime problem in America is the disintegration of the African-American family. Do you agree?
Bill, I think you're missing the point, and you're missing an opportunity that you have with your considerable platform to help with the conversation about whether it's the crime problem, the unemployment problem, and the like. And the reason why is you can't start the conversation by simply name-calling, castigating, and attacks. And I believe you've talked with great force in the past about the need for there to be civility about this set of problems that this nation faces. So your platform could be a platform that could help us bridge this divide.
Let me, maybe you didn't understand the question. I agree that the black crime problem, which is very intense, violent crime, the reason that's happening to the extent that it is because of the disintegration of the African-American family. Do you agree with that?
I think that the disintegration of the traditional African-American family has caused great social problems in the black community and in America at large. But, Bill, we see the disintegration of the so-called nuclear family throughout all of America, not just in the black community.
Not to the extent of 73%.
And so I don't think there's a direct...
Not to the extent that the African Americans, and particularly in the poorer precincts, are experiencing it. You know that. 73% is... it's a catastrophe. All right, so if you agree with me about that this is a driving factor, not only of crime, but also of poverty.
It's a factor.
Okay. If you agree with that, I think it's the primary factor. All right, why isn't there more emphasis on solving that problem? Why are there no public service announcements from your organization or other civil rights organizations telling black girls, don't become pregnant? That's not going to lead to anything good.
Well, here's where I think I'd extend an invitation to you to come down.
I don't want the invitation. I want to know why you guys haven't put out a campaign to fight against these pregnancies that are leading to crime and poverty. Why haven't you done that?
Bill, you're not hearing the messages that go on in the community every day, in the houses of worship, in the meetings that we hold, in the programs that we undertake.
Well, obviously you're not getting through.
What you may be focused on
You're not getting through.
Is headlines. No, you focus on the headlines that may be on cable television and also the headlines that may be in the newspapers. But the reason why I invite you in is because there's a whole conversation that takes place beyond the mainstream media in the community, which is deeply concerned, talks about these problems.
But it's not working. Do you not understand, Mr. Morial, I'm sorry. Do you not understand it's not working? What you're doing is
working,
not,
Bill. You're absolutely right.
It's not working. So that we need to come together from the president on down and stop the BS, stop the diversions, stop, accusing people of one way or another, and come to some solutions. And the first solution is you've got to stop young black women from having babies out of wedlock. You've got to discourage that actively. And the second thing is you've got to demand discipline in your public schools, in the inner cities particularly, get the unions out of there, have the kids in school uniforms, and demand standards and discipline. I don't hear any of that from Jackson or Sharpton or from you or from President Obama. I don't hear any of it from you guys.
Bill, let me tell you something. Obviously, you haven't been listening that closely to the work that we do in the National Urban League.
Show me where it is. Show me the ad. Show me the campaign. Show me.
Come on. It's not about, Bill, it's not about an advertising campaign. That's not what it's about. It's not about fancy ads or slogans or branding. What it's about is the work that we need to do in our community. And we do have deep problems. But let me say this. The problems that African Americans face are no different than the problems that America faces. It's just that they're deeper. It's just that they're more significant. Whether it's unemployment, whether it's a desire for our children to achieve educational outcomes, whether it's a desire to live in safe and wholesome communities. Those aspirations are the same. Our problems are similar. They just have to be deeper. And I agree that much of what we've been doing may not be working. In some cases, it's because we're not doing enough. And my invitation is for you and I to continue this conversation, for you to use your considerable platform, and if we discuss it in a civil manner, I'm sure we can find common ground. For example, I'm for school uniforms and championed that as long ago as 20 years ago. I think that's a good idea.
That's right.
I'm sure that we can find some common ground on some very important issues that face the nation.
It's not a matter of you and me agreeing because we both want the same thing. You and I want the same thing. We want civility, we want safety, and we want prosperity for all Americans, particularly those who are disadvantaged. But I'm telling you that there is a hustle going on in the civil rights industry. There's a grievance industry that makes a lot of money off division, and it's not being challenged by anybody but me. And I'm taking a lot of heat from doing it. Last word.
Bill, let me say this. Americans do have an opportunity to express themselves, to express their grievances against the government, against the nation, but we also have a responsibility to work to find common ground. If you and I can agree, that'll send a signal to a whole lot of Americans about the need to follow.
I don't think we agree on the solutions. I think we agree on what we want, but not the solutions.
But you and I need to talk more because I'm sure we can find common ground because I think when people talk, they can find common ground if we agree.
A lot of people dying while the chatting's going on, Mr. Morial. And we appreciate you coming on, and you're welcome anytime you want to come on this broadcast.
Thank you.
Next on The Rundown, Charles